We got deja vu all over again, in the words of the great Yogi Berra. This match was delightful. I hate how quickly we got back to just saying our truth and people saying our truth. It's not, it's Ron Killings. He said it was Ron Killings. Make it Ron Killings. Make a big deal about that. Make it feel different. And it doesn't feel all the way different. It feels like our truth got serious, not we got Ron Killings back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that bothers me about this, right? Our truth got a haircut, and he's a little bit more serious than normal, but like it's not all the way there. We got the Punk run in, and then we got exactly what I wanted this whole time. We got candy from a baby. We got not helping the old lady across the street. We got real heel work from John Cena. We got bug you, make your skin crawl type stuff. Just mean, so he ruins the main event match. He's here to ruin wrestling. He ruins CM Punk's run-in. And then he mocks the most defining moment of his opponent's career. He mocks it. He parodies it. It's hysterical. Because the best part about it is, it didn't land harder than the original Pipebomb did. It didn't need to. This was a needle in your ribs, and the Pipebomb was a punch in the mouth. That's the difference between these two. They both hurt. They absolutely both hurt. I loved this. And I thank you. Shout out C Money, by the way. Yes, we do need K Quick, 3 Live Crew, the whole 9. I'm with you. But back to the task at hand here. John Cena, in his version of the pipe bomb, I wouldn't necessarily call it a pipe bomb. I'd call it more of a firecracker, or like a landmine. If we're talking about explosives, wasn't quite Molotov cocktail, but it was dang good. Dez, obviously you're wearing the t-shirt, so I gotta start with you on this. But what were your thoughts? What were your biggest takeaways?
First, I'll walk you through my mind process. Normally, when SmackDown does its main event matches, it's probably around 10:45, 10:42, maybe 10:50, right? If it's like rushed, burn away. This started at like 10:35. And in my head, I'm thinking, there's no way John Cena and Ron Killings are going to go 20 minutes. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, this is either going to be a pipe bomb from John Cena or CM Punk. Once John Cena brought the table out, I'm like, oh, we're doing this. We're doing the pipe bomb. I will say, I have mixed feelings about it simply because some people are calling it the greatest promo of all time. I disagree about that. And then people are saying it's a parody of one of the greatest promos of all time. And I agree. This was a very good promo. I'm just one of those guys where it's like, if you're going to blur the line, I want you to blur the line, right? Mentioning Claudio on WWE television, that's big. But if anybody can pull back the curtain and like really dig into CM Punk, it would have been John Cena, right? He could have mentioned him walking out. He could have mentioned John Cena being the face of the PG era. He could have mentioned all this stuff with, obviously with AEW, but I know with the NDAs going on, so I get why he wouldn't do that. Could have mentioned the stuff with UFC, all this stuff he could have mentioned. So I get why they didn't do it. I still think the delivery was really good. My biggest thing was John Cena kind of had like these, he kind of made it like, it was almost mocking it in a way. And I noticed it because when he would say like, hi, Claudio, hi, Nick Nemeth, hi, Matt Cardona, he's like, hey, look at me. I'm live. This is a live mic. It almost felt like the kid that just figured out how to get past parental controls on the parents' TV so they could play Call of Duty. That's kind of what it felt like. Like, look at this. I cracked the code. Look at me. I'm the bad guy now. So it was mocking in a way. I thought delivery was really good. I just kind of wish the lines were they just hurt more. They were more serious, right? The line where he's like, you're not a punk. You're a capitalist. You're against TKO? Dude, you're a Mr. TKO. I wish he would have landed those lines more.
Des, I agreed with a lot of what you said there, but a couple things really quickly. First
Yeah.
off, the TKO thing we will get to, but the line
Yeah.
that you mentioned earlier, the one that you just mentioned, where it was about like, the whole you are a capitalist thing.
Yeah.
The brilliance is CM Punk fought in the UFC, went 0-2 on a
Yeah.
contract bigger than other mixed martial arts stars.
Right.
Is Endeavor bought the UFC in 2016.
Mhm.
They were not called TKO yet. But that's who CM Punk fought for. And he fought for 200 grand to win, 200 grand to show, and 200 to win. Right? So 400 total against
Yeah.
a guy making 10-10. And people don't bring that up. And he got choked out in 90 seconds. That jab, I thought, landed as hard as anything.
Oh, me too.
You are Mr. TKO. So when I agree with you that some of the lines weren't as harsh as they should have been, that one in particular,
That was
that
good.
runs deep. That runs
I agree.
really deep. He's
Yeah.
taking paychecks from TKO. He got really heavily criticized in the MMA community for being paid more to be there than people who train their whole lives
Yeah.
to be mixed martial artists. That part of it, I thought, was the most clever line
Me
by
too.
John Cena. There's a few others, the Saudi Arabia factor, all of that. But that I'm with you on not everything landed perfect. Now, at the same time, I found part of it to be tongue in cheek, making fun of Punk.
Oh, right. It was.
This is
I agree
what
with that.
you wish you would do again. This
Mhm.
was your best moment. Watch me recreate it. And going back to the best in the world and going back to all that, I was cool with it, but I do agree. It could have been, especially for a guy that, he's an
Yeah.
MC. He's got hip hop albums. Punchlines could have landed a touch harder. I
Mhm.
hear you there. But Anthony, obviously, Mr. Head of Opinions here, we can't stop until we get yours on this subject. And you've seen all of it. Talk to me about it, Ant.
Yeah, this is one of those things where Cena's heel turn is very tongue in cheek, like you said. It's very sarcastic in a way. It's a major moment for him. One of Punk's defining moments was that pipe bomb. I love the little Easter egg history part of this, which somebody had pointed out, and it is 100% true. When Punk cut the pipe bomb all those years ago in 2011, it was main evented by John Cena and Truth. And now we're doing it again. I'm sure that was not by accident. I'm sure that was 100% intentional with this. Obviously, the roles are reversed. Cena's big thing is that Punk's a hypocrite. Punk's argument back then was he didn't hate the business, he didn't hate the job, he hated who was running it. Obviously, that person is no longer running it. TKO is, or the conglomerate. So Punk getting the brunt of that is fine. I know people are looking for little nuggets. Oh, Claudio Castagnoli, oh, that must mean the equivalent of Cole Cabana, the CC, and Matt Cardona must mean Matt Jackson, and Nick Nemeth must mean Nick Jackson. I think you're digging. It reminds me of back in the day when they did the Save Us Y2J vignettes, and everyone was trying to figure out who it was, and they were looking at different things and went, oh, this date corresponds with Sunday Night Heat that Chris Jericho was on, so it has to be Jericho. And I'm like, it was Jericho, but like those hints weren't there. And I feel like that's the same boat with this, where they're looking for hints where they're not. The reason he dropped Claudio's name, the reason he dropped Nick Nemeth, the reason he dropped Cardona was to give the illusion that this was a shoot promo. This was not a shoot promo. It may raise some red flags in AEW where they're like, why was this person mentioned? Is Claudio going back? Like, people may freak out over that, but I think it was just to try to create that illusion of pipe bomb, a loose cannon. It really wasn't. Even the original pipe bomb, newsflash, most of that was pretty much scripted too, as it's been relayed. The shots against Hunter, Cody has said he was back there. Hunter suggested most of those shots. So, a lot of that was choreographed. This whole thing is roles being reversed. Punk and Cena. For the first time, Punk is the face, Cena's the heel, and you're doing it in a place that Punk has openly said he really didn't want to go to. So I think that really helps this because it drives that whole internet narrative going, oh, he's a hypocrite. You don't know what he's doing with the payday. None of us do. He could be donating all that money for all we know.
So true.
We have no idea. And, not to get political with any of this stuff, but you have fans there. They were born there. A lot of them, they don't get the choice, and to deny them the privilege of seeing Punk live, regardless of any of that stuff, you got to think of other fans, and they want to see Punk just like they wanted to see Sammy when he was denied.
I think it's interesting, Ant, because I think he already got him on the Saudi Arabia thing, but I think he got him in the 3 places. The TKO place was spot on. You're not a Punk place was really, 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 really good. And then the biggest one to me is John sitting back and being like, they're not going to kill my live mic.
Unlike you.
But they killed yours.
Yes.
They are not going to kill my live mic was the ultimate, cut you at the kneecaps. They would cut yours, but not me. And you know why.
Yeah.
And he said it so passive aggressively. It was the most narcissistic thing
I think that was the best line.
as a heel.
I think it was the best line.
It was by far.
That was the best line.
To me, that stole the promo. That was the difference, right? He parodied everything else. The only difference is he taps the mic and it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Because it's John Cena. And that was him flexing, doing they're not going to cut me off.
I will always
see the difference.
I will always be the face of the company, and you'll never be.
Always matter more than you did.
Yeah.
That was just the way it was.
It was the twisting of the knife.
Really, really, really respected it.